Alright, hi guys. Today I'd like to explain how to use a trend line. Okay, so again, I would like to say that this is just my way of using a trend line. There are a lot of different ways that people use a trend line. You know, some people enter on the trend line, but for me, mostly I just use it as a guide to know when a buy trend is ending and when a sell trend is ending, right? But I don't use it as just the only means of entering. For example, if you draw a trend line like this, I'm sure you've seen. So you use the line chart. So it touched here, it touched here, it touched here, right? And it did not break this level. So there are some which will say, okay, as long as you touch this line, we will continue to buy, right? And this is obviously in the daily. And as long as it doesn't break this line, we will continue to buy. The issue with that is it is not very precise. So let's say, for example, in H1, if we go to the line chart and we mark, let's just say this trend here, all right, like this. So there are some which will say, all right, this is a buy, and as long as it doesn't break this line, we shall continue to buy. And then this broke. As soon as it touches this trend line again, we will then counter sell. And if you were to open the chart, it looks as though it's like, wow, this is so perfect. This is such a perfect way of entering, right? But my issue is there are times where this does not happen so perfectly. So I'll show you another example over here. So let's just say we are going here, for example, okay, on the line chart. And we draw it like so. So when we open the candlestick, we can see that price broke our trend line, came back down here, broke it again, came back down, and then continued to go down. So it's not very precise. Now I'm sure that there's some of you which will say, I don't know what I'm doing, but again, I do not actually use a trend line to enter. My technique is a lot more precise, and we want to know exactly where price reacts. So what I actually use this for is just as a rough guideline to be like, okay, for example, let's just say here, okay, so I can see that price is still on an uptrend until it broke this level, and then I will continue looking for sells. But I do not use the trend line specifically to find my sells. For example, if this breaks, so let's just say, for example, just because this breaks here doesn't mean I'm going to enter back at the trend line. Okay, there are ways and means to find exactly how to enter, which I'll share with you in the later videos. So what I would basically use trend line for mainly is to mark main direction. So for gold, for example, you can see here, the main direction is still buy. And for minor direction, you can use it. For example, let's say if it comes into your zone, and let's just assume that your buy zone is over here, for example, and for a double confirmation, you could just draw roughly a trend line here like this, okay? And as soon as price were to break up, you would have at least some sort of double confirmation that, okay, the trend has at least changed in M15 towards a buy. So we can start looking for safer buys. So that's how I use a trend line, and I hope this video was helpful, and I shall see you guys in the next one. God bless.